Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got a very big update coming out from the Middle East to share with all of you. In today's video, we're going to talk about Israel and Hamas, who have been battling it out in the Gaza Strip for over a year now. I've got huge news that Israel and Hamas have agreed to a ceasefire and hostage deal to end the war. So this information actually came out earlier this morning, but I wanted to wait a little bit as we were hearing some sources on X indicating that maybe this wasn't true. I did put out a community post letting you guys know about that information, and I just wanted to make sure this was set in stone, and it looks like it is. So you can see here on your screen too, it says Israel and Hamas have reached an agreement on a multi-phase ceasefire that commits them to end the war in Gaza. President Biden and Qatar's prime minister announced separately on Wednesday. So we've got statements coming out from Biden. We also have a statement coming out from Donald Trump, who's going to be in the White House in just about 5 days. So I've got all the information regarding the ceasefire deal and the different phases. I can show you all these details as we jump over to X. So let's head on over here now. This is from President Biden. Today, after many months of intensive diplomacy by the United States, along with Egypt and Qatar, Israel and Hamas have reached a ceasefire and hostage deal. My diplomacy never ceased in their efforts to get this done. I will speak more about this soon. So he did hold a press conference today. We're not going to show that video. It's kind of long, but we will go over the statement that he made here. This is for immediate release statement from President Joe Biden on January 15th, 2025. Today, after many months of intensive diplomacy by the United States, along with Egypt and Qatar, Israel and Hamas have reached a ceasefire and hostage deal. This deal will halt the fighting in Gaza, surge much-needed humanitarian assistance to Palestinian civilians, and reunite the hostages with their families after more than 15 months in captivity. I laid out the precise contours of this plan on May 31st, 2024, after which it was endorsed unanimously by the UN Security Council. It is a result not only of the extreme pressure that Hamas has been under and the changed regional equation after a ceasefire in Lebanon and weakening of Iran, but also of dogged and painstaking American diplomacy. My diplomacy never ceased in their efforts to get this done. Even as we welcome this news, we remember all the families whose loved ones were killed in Hamas's October 7th attack and the many innocent people killed in the war that followed. It is long past time for the fighting to end and the work of building peace and security to begin. I'm also, if thinking of the, am thinking, I think is what he meant, am thinking of the American families, 3 of who have living hostages in Gaza and 4 awaiting return of remains after what has been the most horrible ordeal imaginable. Under this deal, we are determined to bring all of them home. I will speak more about this soon. For now, I am thrilled that those who have been held hostage are being reunited with their families. So from what I understand, I believe there's 3 Americans actually that are being held by Hamas. Many of these others are actually from Israel, the citizens that are currently in captivity with Hamas right now. So now let's jump on over to Al Jazeera English. Here's an outline of all 3 stages of the Gaza ceasefire deal between Hamas and Israel as mediated by Qatar, Egypt, and the U.S. So they made some little diagrams here to make it very easy for us to understand the different stages of this deal. So here's the outlines of the first stage of the Gaza ceasefire deal. The Israeli military will withdraw within 700 meters inside Gaza, or 2,297 feet. Israel will release about 2,000 Palestinian prisoners, including 250 serving life sentences. Palestinian groups will release 33 Israeli captives. Okay, so only 33 of the Israelis are going to be released. I think 3 of them being Americans, from what I understand. And this is going to be in exchange for 2,000 Palestinian prisoners, including 250 serving life sentences. It says here Israel will allow injured people in Gaza to travel to receive medical treatment. Israel will also open the Rafah crossing with Egypt 7 days after the start of the first stage. Israeli forces will begin to pull back from Gaza's border with Egypt, known as the Philadelphia Corridor, to withdraw from it completely in later stages. So that's interesting because at one point, Israel was saying they were never going to leave the Philadelphia Corridor. And just understand this too, that Hamas has not been destroyed, okay? They're still there in the Gaza Strip, and this war is going to come to an end. So Hamas is still most likely going to be a threat. We'll see what happens here as things move on down the road. But they could be a threat to Israel still. And we did hear a report just coming out yesterday also from Antony Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State right now under Biden. he came out saying that apparently Hamas is still there in the Gaza Strip. They've regrown, and they've also refilled all their ranks that were initially destroyed in the fighting over the last year. So that's pretty crazy. I wonder how that's going to work out. Here's the second phase now. It says, what is planned for the second phase? If Israel determines that the conditions have been met for a second phase, Hamas will release all the remaining living captives, mostly male soldiers, in return for the freeing of more Palestinians held in the Israeli prison system. In addition, according to the current document, Israel would initiate its complete withdrawal from Gaza. Okay, so we'd probably see a complete withdrawal for Israeli troops from the Gaza Strip during the second stage, and more releasing of Palestinians held in prison in Israel. Here's the third phase now, and it says the details of the third phase remain unclear. According to the draft, should the conditions of the second stage be met, the third stage will see the bodies of the remaining captives handed over in return for a 3 to 5 year reconstruction plan to be conducted under international supervision. There is currently no agreement over who will administer Gaza beyond the ceasefire. The United States has pressed for a reformed version of the Palestinian Authority to do so. So as far as I know as well, they're going to be reconstructing Gaza, rebuilding it at some point down the road. It's going to take several years. I mean, we know that Gaza is completely destroyed for the most part. There's really nothing left of it, but that should be part of this deal as well. So we'll see how this holds up. So now we'll move on to Ozen Defender. U.S. President-elect Donald J. Trump, in a statement following the announcement of a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas, states that his national security team will work closely with Israel and allies to make sure Gaza never again becomes a terrorist safe haven. Okay, so it looks like Trump's going to be working hard on that to make sure they be rid of Hamas, or make sure Hamas cannot stay there. And it says here, Donald J. Trump, this epic ceasefire agreement could have only happened as a result of our historic victory in November, as it signaled to the entire world that my administration would seek peace and negotiate deals to ensure the safety of all Americans and our allies. I am thrilled. American and Israeli hostages will be returning home to be reunited with their families and loved ones. With this deal in place, my national security team, through the efforts of Special Envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, will continue to work closely with Israel and our allies to make sure Gaza never again becomes a terrorist safe haven. We will continue promoting peace through strength throughout the region, and we will build upon the momentum of this ceasefire to further expand the historic Abraham Accords. This is only the beginning of great things to come for America and indeed the world. We have achieved so much without even being in the White House. Just imagine all the wonderful things that will happen when I return to the White House and my administration is fully confirmed, so they can secure more victories for the United States. Okay, so Donald Trump coming out on his Truth Social platform and with a major statement regarding the ceasefire deal. So that's good that there is a ceasefire deal. We are seeing with Trump and Biden today, they were actually both trying to claim credit for the ceasefire deal. So it's up to you. You know, you can decide who gets the credit here. But in my opinion, it really doesn't matter as long as this war does come to a safe end and the suffering can stop for everybody who's involved. That to me is a plus. So one last thing I want to show you guys. Formosan Defender celebrations of the ceasefire deal in Gaza are also taking place within the Ain al-Hilway refugee camp near the city of Sidon in southern Lebanon, with Hamas flags seen lining the streets. So this video footage coming out to just all over the Middle East right now. Many Palestinians and people just celebrating in general for this war coming to an end. And some people would even say that Hamas has won. I have seen a lot of talk about that, so I'm not going to be here to decide who wins the war. Again, I'm just glad that it's coming to an end peacefully, and hopefully it remains that way and everyone can live in peace over here, even if they have to be neighbors with each other. But yeah, we're seeing lots of celebrations right now. I tried to find some celebrations going on in Israel, and I'm not really seeing that, which is kind of surprising because we heard recently that a lot of Israelis were, they were protesting like crazy in the streets of Tel Aviv, trying to get the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to, get all these people home. Now that's the case, and we're not really seeing any celebrations going on there. Maybe they're happening, and I'm not able to find the videos of that, but there is lots of celebrations happening for the Palestinians, okay? So just wanted to give you guys a quick update on what's going on over here in the Middle East. So it looks like a lot of these wars are going to be coming to an end. We already know that Hezbollah war is for the most part over. We're still seeing the Israelis dropping bombs inside of southern Lebanon. That's been happening recently. But for the most part, that ceasefire deal is still holding up. Then we have this one now with Gaza and Hamas. So let me know what you think about all these details down below. That's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. With that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.